welcome back to the fifth day of 12 days of scandalous Christmas stories. Yeah, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Well, definitely welcome back to the channel and welcome if you are new here. I am so glad that you are here. Now, on day one, I actually did a nice little intro into what we were doing here with this little detour on the channel. And that is kind of a concept of Vlogmas. If you're familiar with Vlogmas, when individuals do vlogs and they kind of just, specialize their content, if you will, for that time frame around Christmas. And it's a fun thing. Either they're doing it every day up until Christmas Day or whatever day they want to, do the repetition for it. And of course, one of the fun things that I like to do is get myself into the Christmas spirit. And as we know, so many things are going on right now, and I just want to have some fun. So with that being said, I said, you know what? I want to do a little something for this channel as well in the same light. But what I decided I was going to actually do is do a bit of a take on 12 days of Christmas. And so that's what we have now. And I'm actually enjoying it. I hope that you are. And it's just been a little fun just to do something a little different to kind of do in celebration of the Christmas season. Now, of course, we're not just doing regular old stories. No. We can't do just regular old stories. We are actually going to take our journey back to Christmas past. And that's what all 12 days of the Christmas series for this year, for 2024, is going to be about. Going back to scandalous stories from years past in the same time frame for Christmas and also, Thanksgiving and into the season, into Christmas. So yeah, we're kind of blurring those up together. Because at the end of the day, like I say, the world is, pretty much on fire right now anyways, with all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And sometimes it's nice to just go ahead and take a nostalgic back trip to another time, maybe, where maybe things were less scandalous. I don't know. Maybe not so much less scandalous, but I don't know. I just want to do something different. So we are definitely doing that. And then we're also going to take ourselves a bit of a detour to, kind of do a bit of a review of a movie, but not a full review, just really just kind of zoning in on one comment in particular of that movie that was highlighted as a major comment that wasn't so much in line with the belovedness that would occur for the movie that was that Christmas movie. So we're going to get into that a little bit too. So I've got my cup of Jubilee, my Christmas mug here, which I think is so cute. I don't get to pull it out obviously very often other than Christmas time if I remember to pull it out. And so I wanted to do that. And it's actually a little Christmas tree at the bottom too. It's so cute. But of course I couldn't do spirits right now. So mine's is just full of water, but maybe you'll be, with spirits. So with that, definitely, this is just a little fun nostalgia going back in time. Share your thoughts down below about these stories and all those good things. And definitely make sure you have yourself a cup of hot chocolate or any type of warm beverage that you like, whether it's spirit related or not. And sit back and relax. Let's have a little fun and just enjoy the nostalgia of a Christmas scandalous past. So yeah, we are definitely going to be getting into it with our first story, which is, you remember him? Tiger Woods. Well, of course you remember him, right? He's like the golfer of the world kind of thing, right? But but do you remember one huge scandal that I think to this day, there's still a little bit of commentary about here and there because it was such a huge story. So we're going to go ahead and get into that one. So for that, we are going to, Online as our sourced article, and we're going back to a time of 2009. So let's go ahead and set the stage. We're going to take our proverbial DeLorean, if you want to call it, or a time traveling machine, and we're going to go right on back into 2009. Now, the #1 hit movie at that time was Transformers: The Revenge of the Fallen, which, quite frankly, I really enjoyed that movie. I don't know about you. There's so many of them now, but yeah, that's a really good one. The #1 hit song was said to be, according to the Billboard Hot 100 list, Boom Boom Pow by the Black Eyed Peas. And one of the most beloved and talked about celebrities of 2009 actually became a breakout pop artist, none other than Lady Gaga. Yeah. So that was what was going on in 2009. I remember some pivotal moments in 2009. Not many, because there's been so much going on just yesterday that, going back too far, sometimes I just have to sit back and really think about these things. But yeah, if you remember if 2009 was a good year for you, go ahead and drop that down in the comment section below. I'm sure would love to know. So let's go ahead and get into this particular sharing. Yeah, that scandalous one. Now, according to E! Online, they were sharing the story of Tiger Woods' cheating scandal erupts. Ooh, yeah, seem to have a lot of cheating scandals nowadays, but back then, this was huge because you remember Tiger Woods was kind of like the cream of the creme, right? I mean, at least that's what his image was: squeaky clean, golfer extraordinaire. Everybody loved him. Well, at least most people did, I guess. And yeah, who would have ever thought that he would have been cheating? And he didn't just cheat with one. He didn't just cheat with two. Oh, he cheated with many. So let's go ahead and get into what the sharing was at that time. Now, it isn't every scandal that completely dismantles someone's image, but Tiger Woods never did anything halfway. Now, the National Enquirer had recently reported on his alleged infidelity, but the rumors hadn't really gone mainstream until November 27, 2009, when Woods ran his Escalade into a fire hydrant, which resulted in the SUV bumping into a tree outside the Windermere, Florida mansion he shared with wife Elin Nordegren. I think it was Elin, right? And their two children. Now, it being the night after Thanksgiving, the golf champion's mother and mother-in-law were at the house too. Woo, not fun family time for him. Now, in the ensuing days, other women, starting with Rachel Yucatel, came pouring out of the woodwork, and Woods eventually checked into a treatment center for S addiction. Though he'd returned to competition at the Masters the following April, a combination of physical ailments and personal strife, he and Nordgren divorced in August of 2010. Now, prevented him from winning another title into 2012. So this is what those things did to him, right? That whole scandal just kind of took him off his game, no pun intended. And of course, this title did not, he wasn't able to resurrect that until, again, 2012. And he didn't win another major tournament until the 2019 Masters. Look how many years that was, like good 10 years. Like this man was on top of his golfing game. I think every year he was winning, right? Like he was the number one golfer for so long. But when I say, and you probably remember, my goodness, that situation rocked his game. It just simply rocked his brain. Now, though she thoroughly denied the version of events that had her whacking the vehicle's window with a golf club on that fateful evening, Aline later opened up about how utterly devastating that time was, telling people, "I have been through the stages of disbelief and shock to anger and ultimately grief over the loss of the family I so badly wanted for my children." Oh my gosh. And how sad that situation was. I mean, that case was honestly the case that rocked 2009 and kept on rocking for, no pun intended in that either, but kept on rocking for year after year after year. I mean, it became honestly a running joke that, people were just falling out of the closet. The whole thing about skeletons falling out of your closet, it was like, or skeletons in your closet, it was like his were women falling out of the closet, like one after another. I don't know if the number ended up at 13 or less. I have no idea. But it was quite a few. And oh my gosh. And of course, it was, I remember when I was working in my past job back at that time, there was people that would put like together what you would see like AI videos now. But back then they would put these videos together and they actually did like a cartoon setup where you can hear the footsteps like, pop, 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 and that was his wife actually running after him after he had slammed his SUV into the tree. Okay. The situation is not very funny, right? I mean, obviously, it was a horrible scandal. It was a horrible situation. But that AI comedy thing was hilarious. And I wish I still had it because it was really funny. Because you could just hear the papa, papa, papa on a dark screen first, and then it unleashes the actual scene of what took hold. But oh my gosh, it was so horrible of a situation I could only imagine. I'm sure, Tiger was quite embarrassed and is so happy to be on or be beyond that situation. But yeah, it was so crazy just to actually see everything unfold. It was like CNN breaking news back then was different than what it is now. Like here, you're breaking news every 5 seconds. Then, I mean, it was a huge thing. It was a huge scandal. So if you remember that huge scandal, definitely drop it down below in the comment section. And what was your thoughts? I mean, were you a Tiger Woods fan? Or were you surprised? I mean, just let me know your thoughts. Were you shocked if you, obviously were familiar with it at that time? I mean, what did it make you think at that time? I mean, it was insane of a situation. Oh my gosh. I mean, it was a running joke for a lot of other people, but it really truly wasn't a funny scandal at all. And of course, being around the holiday time, I mean, that's just horrific in my opinion. But yeah, it just, I mean, God, the story got juicier and juicier, and it just became more and more and more involved as each and every other woman after that came out to unfold. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened to make that floodgate open up. And boy, when it opened up, it just was like a raging waterfall, of course, of secrets that just was unveiled, and really did do a whole lot to shatter this whole kind of, perfect image of rich people. So yeah, well, not so great. Now, from what I know, I'll say I don't know. I think that obviously they did have their divorce, but Elaine, I think it was Elaine, Ellen. Oh, I think it's a Lynn. But I think she did remarry. And I think she's happy now. The kids are, I think, both grown up now. And I believe his son is actually getting into golf as well. So, at this point, it looks like people have moved on from the story, and that is good. Maybe much has happened in a way of hopefully healing and therapy when needed, of course, that would keep them on path. And honestly, we haven't really heard much from Tiger since then, other than on the occasion when, a Masters was won, or that he did have this horrific car accident a couple of years back, where he really busted his back. I mean, he did a number on himself, and I think it was like a one-man car accident. It seemed pretty mysterious all around. Don't know what's going on there, but it did take him some time, and then he was able to come back. I want to say to the next Masters for the next year. And I'm assuming he was able to get something at that point, but you know how it is. Once you're on the top, you got to really figure a way to stay on the top. So yeah, that was the scandal. What would you call it? The cheating scandal of the year. And at some points, maybe in past years, honestly, because it was the biggest thing at that time. So yeah, now we're going to go ahead and move on over to another beloved Christmas movie that would be beloved by most people, but apparently someone didn't think it was so beloved. So I would definitely love to know your thoughts on this as well. So we're going to go ahead and pop into whatever that sharing was. So yeah, you remember this one? Oh yeah, a classic, right? I mean, everybody remembers this one. Home Alone, of course. Home Alone 1, 2, and they actually did a number 3 also. But it was another little boy for number 3 because it was a couple of years, I think, past. And I don't know what his name was. And I don't remember all of the details, but I think it was another little boy. But nevertheless, might have been another little boy from another family. I can't remember. But 1 and 2 was very popular, but 1 came out during the time of, I think, 1990. So this was the first one. And of course, it was a treasured story for the ages, right? Kid gets left after having this huge family at home, and everybody's getting ready, hustle and bustle. I think they were going to France for Christmas, and somehow Kevin gets himself left, and everybody's gone. He doesn't know what's going on, what's happening with all the rustle and bustle, because I mean, they had so many family members who were leaving, and they didn't realize he was gone until they were on the plane over the water on their way to France. So, I mean, it was so crazy. I mean, how can you forget your kid? I mean, what the heck? But, hey, look, sometimes, it's, dangerous out there in the jungle. You got to go ahead and, look out and fend for yourself. And I think he was like 10 years old, 8 or 10, something like that, maybe 10. I don't know. It was crazy. And then, of course, he had the adventures of, the 2 burglars who he just slapstickly handled them with all of the nonsense and issues. And of course, it did end with a lovely situation in which he was able to kind of not be afraid of his neighbor, and his neighbor ended up actually rekindling his relationship with his family. So it did have a nice little happy ending, but it was a really funny movie. But I guess not everybody was so thrilled. So let's go ahead and get into what was up with that. So now apparently, Home Alone was a terrible film. What? A terrible film. Look, I've seen terrible films. I don't think it was a terrible film. But let's go ahead and finish up what they said. So they said apparently they felt the movie was, in effect, emotionally abused, neglected, and ostracized by his family. A literal child thinks up increasingly sadistic ways to torture two burglars instead of, calling the police. Now, here's the thing. If he had did all of that, called the police, and they didn't forget about it, they wouldn't have been a movie. Okay, that's just what it is. And so I think that it was great. I think it was fun. It was something different, and there was always an issue at that time, and it's not the only time, but always worried about someone trying to take something you got on Christmas, right? And these are things that were happening, and it's unfortunate. And so this was a nice little take, and it was a great movie. I mean, honestly, I think they're a little bit hard on their critique, but what would you think of that? I mean, is your thoughts? Do you feel it was one of those kind of movies where it was kind of I don't know, such a horrible movie because, well, he was emotionally not in tune with the rest of his family? Or did you think it was fun and enjoyable? People should lighten up a little bit. I don't know. But of course, everyone's entitled to their opinion on that. But definitely let me know your thoughts down below. Now, this is also another movie that many people do like to watch year after year after year because it's like a tradition. Now, the last time I saw this movie probably was in the 90s. But I remember being fun and enjoyable. And I didn't take it too seriously. At the end of the day, whenever I want to stop and sit down and watch a movie, I'm just looking for the fun of it. And it really was, I thought, fun. That was just my opinion anyways. So yeah, well, I guess with that, I think we're done with this day of 12 Days of Christmas. I am so proud of myself to be able to come in every single day with one of these videos. It's actually kind of fun, and it's kind of helping me a little bit getting into the Christmas spirit, I guess. I don't know. This is a crazy year that we're in, but definitely I would love to know your thoughts about both the sharings, just knowing what was going on with the stuff with that Tiger Woods scandal. What was your thoughts about that? What do you think about it? I'm hoping he learned his lesson. We haven't heard anything about any of that since then. Now it seems like a scandal of that magnitude is not really, happens every other day, right? I mean, nobody's really flinching an eye, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I feel like maybe we become desensitized to a lot of things that back at a certain point was just like, no way, you want to stay away from that kind of imagery. But yeah, there you have it. So I am so glad that you were here to join me and just, kind of chill a little bit in the moment of nostalgia of Home Alone and just obviously seeing that not everybody was so thrilled with the movie, and also talking about another scandalous situation being the cheating scandal in 2009. So I definitely, again, would love to know your thoughts below. Thank you so much for being here. If you are new here and you haven't had a chance to subscribe, I hope that you would and join the family. I would so love to have you. And of course, make sure you keep your notification bells on. And make sure you'll be back, because I will be back tomorrow with day 6. And I guess that's about all I have to say. But let me know what your plans are, how you're doing, how you're doing for the season. I mean, are you planning on having family and, around doing things, trying to hold on until next year gets here? I mean, I would love to know. Share what you like. And of course, I would also like to know, what was your favorite Christmas movie, if you have one. I don't know if I really have one. I have a lot of movies that I like. Yeah, I have a lot of movies that I like. But and I usually just go for whatever's going on at that year. But I don't know, maybe I'll come up with a tradition myself. But if you have one, let me know down below. I would so love to know that. And I guess with that, I'm going to bid you adieu. I thank you so much for being here. You take care and be blessed, and I will see you tomorrow. Now, so just take care. Bye.